Good morning, everybody. Mark, the ministry dude. Today we're going to be continuing on with our Through the Bible series. Today's January 5th. We're going to skim through it a little bit here, give you kind of an idea, and I'll leave a link to the book and you can purchase a copy of it. It goes in with the sons of Japheth, Ham, and Shem. Here is the introduction of the nations and is entered into the history of mankind. We are given a very complete listing of who went where and which ethnic group resulted. Additional information would have come to Moses from his Egyptian education. Added to that would have been special revelation given by God. We'll talk a little bit about the Tower of Babel. Knowing when this incident occurred may help us know why the tower was being built and why it was offensive to God. The flood was over and life resumed with a total of 8 people. Where in that time frame did the Tower of Babel fall? Mankind's population had grown large enough that a desire to unite and not be divided seems to have developed. By the time the call of Terra came, Earth's population had grown so large that a winnowing process was put into place by God. 100 years from the flood to the Tower of Babel does not produce a massive population, but it does produce one which is probably starting to splinter apart. This could take on the form of centralized worship. Scripture also indicates that they wanted to be self-determinate in their form of worship, which almost certainly means excluding God. This worship would be idol worshiping, the idol being their own superior selves. All right, we're going to do a little background for the book of Job. The writing was right around 2165 to 2155 BC. The date of the event, somewhere around 2165. Job, there's not widespread agreement as to the author, and the book does not state who it is. Many Bible teachers assign this book to Moses, but the author can have few valid reasons for this. The author must have been a participant in the events of the book. The speeches by each of the individuals are so detailed that one who was not present could probably not have reconstructed them accurately from oral tradition. The name of Job occurs in secular history and refers to a prince in the region of Damascus in the 19th century, almost certainly east of Palestine. Lamentations 4:21 identifies as Edom. This picture fits the biblical narrative of the book of Job as well. The author believes the events of this book occurred close to the time of Abraham's birth, which was 2167 BC. Job's wealth was measured in terms of the cattle he possessed, also symptomatic of the patriarchal age. So we have a highly detailed account of God's spiritual activity occurring just before he began to call out his people Israel through the patriarch Abraham. Had the nation of Israel already been formed, Job probably would have referenced it. Finally, Job would probably have put these events into writing during the decade following their occurrence. His family was being rebuilt during that time, and he would have been emotionally recovering from the shock of the events. To fully understand this great book, the reader must try to place himself backwards in the time into the book's historical setting, as well as into the emotional state of Job. Job wrestled with the question of why the innocent suffered, a question of what is with what ought to be. Most of the answers from his friends stated or implied that suffering is always the result of sin. A greater issue may fail to grasp is that the love of relationship with God. Satan, you will learn, accused God of buying Job's loyalty through a hands-off approach. Job was a great man. He feared God and shunned evil. This is a secret of his character, how he maintained it. In this book, the purpose of Job's suffering was to uncover Satan's lie as to what constitutes loyalty and why it is maintained. Job is pictured here as presenting burnt offerings to God. Job, a non-Jew, was offering the kind of sacrifice which Jews later offered. This indicates a complete dedication to and familiarity with God. As to the parting of Job's son Spurgeon, said that usually the house of mourning is more sanctifying than the house of feasting. What he meant is that we sometimes are not godly in our behavior when we are celebrating, but our sadness naturally drives us to God. In our partying, we should watch ourselves and avoid careless and ungodly behavior. The crowd is always wrong. Adrian P. Rogers said that. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I just skimmed over this a little bit. I'm going to leave a link below the video. You can pick up a copy of it, and you can read the whole day's reading. This is Mark, the Ministry Dude.